Hello, BookTube.
Hello, BookTube.
We are back again. You never guess what kind of a video this is. It's a book haul video. But this will be the last one.
This
Probably
is it, yeah.
the last one. Tomorrow is the Sabbath. David and I will be at Mass all day long. so this is my friend
We
David
need to
Murphy.
go to church this weekend, yeah.
Multiple layers of sinning going on. He used to have a BookTube channel. He doesn't anymore. He should come back to us. And he has visited, and we have gone book shopping. Lots and lots of book shopping. Today, we went to the Brattle, of course. It's the capstone of any visit is the Brattle, my own bookstore. And we also went to a large Goodwill, which is a charity shop that has books. And we kind of mutually agreed not to go to the Goodwill outlet next door. The Goodwill outlet next door is it's a trip. I don't think either one of us was up for it, so we just didn't do it. But we still ended up with piles of books. So, how do we want to do this?
I think you have more than I do.
Okay, I found two of these the new Penguins, George Orwell, Animal Farm in 1984. And 1984, of course, famously has the totally redacted cover. Just a genius cover design. I didn't have either one of these, and I've seen them on YouTube. I've seen YouTubers hold up this thing. And that is... I'm a big fan of book design. I like a distinctive look. And it's only very rarely that a publisher will be this clever. So I grab it when I see it. And I found a replacement volume, the most of P.G. Wodehouse. This trade paperback, Wodehouse anthologies. I love them. I have a lot of them. And I have a copy of this, but it's falling apart. So, and this is in perfect condition like the day it was made, so I grabbed that. Should I keep going?
Yeah, I guess I'll do one or two here. This, I don't know if anybody will know this. This is David Reisman, Individualism Reconsidered. It's a collection of essays. David Reisman is a libertarian economist, and I mean that rather than economist who's a libertarian, very much a libertarian economist. After this, he wrote a huge book just called Capitalism. Just 1,500 pages, maybe something like that. The kind of thing that is a sign of some sort of condition going on. But I think he's just an academic.
Allow me to ask on behalf of literally everyone watching, there's a difference between a libertarian economist and an economist who's a libertarian?
Have you ever read Paul Krugman?
No.
Oh,
No, I have not. Is there any way, short of a doctoral seminar, that you could tell us what the difference is?
Oh, he's just ideological. That's what I'm saying, really.
Is he good reading?
He can be, especially in shorter form like he has here. That huge book just called Capitalism is not good reading. There's interesting points in there, but you have to get through it to find those bits, and I'm not sure they're worth it.
I found a classic. I've had this a million times. Actually, I've had it in my hand at the Brattle a few times. This copy. And thought, you've owned it from time to time, and you haven't really ever kept it. But I do really like it. It's The Shock of Recognition by Edmund Wilson. And I can, put a covering over this to save it from any more degradation. But it was out in the sale lot. And it's been there the last 3 times I've been to the Brattle. After a while, the staff is going to be too slow taking this in from a rain shower, or one person is going to be too rough with it, and it's not going to be any good at all. So I grabbed it. This is all about the literary record of literary figures encountering other literary figures. So passing the torch from one literary generation to another, one massive talent recognizing another or hating another, and with Wilson as your guide throughout. It's not a big book of his prose, but it's really, really good. Lots of well-chosen examples. Oh no! Oh
Yes.
my God!
So I got this.
My Bible.
I
have not stopped talking about it.
Yeah, so I got Books of the Century put up by New York Times. I think it came up about 3 times on the way to and from the book barn, so I had to finally get it.
It's a collection of book reviews from the New York Times, from the earliest days when they weren't signed to when all of a sudden showboating superstars were doing reviews, and the reviews got longer, and there are essays in here. There are Barry Moser woodcuts. There are all sorts of little factoids. It's amazing.
And it's a little oversized, as you can tell, So.
So you're saying that among all the palette of motivations this long weekend, you have in fact bought a book out of annoyance. Well,
that might be it.
I found this hardcover. of The Rune Lords by David Farland, a really good fantasy novel with just an uninterrupted painting on the cover. I don't think I've ever seen this in hardcover. I have the mass market paperback, and the mass market paperback, oh wow, this is end papers as well. Look at that. And I'm going to get this wrong because everybody gets this wrong. Everybody says this is the first book in the Rune Lord series. It isn't, though. The series has a dumb name. The Sum of All Men. The series is called The Sum of All Men. You're going to be bitterly disappointed if you go into it with that as the title, unfortunately, because it's not. There are all sorts of chick characters in this book. There's even one on the cover. I liked this book. I like, actually, the whole series. And the mass market paperback is the only thing I ever see, and it's just not sturdy enough to take a read. So I found a hardcover. That's great.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Then I found Everyman's
right.
Library. Yeah, I found Turgenev. This is a sportsman's notebook. This I haven't read. I think I've only read Fathers and Sons, so which I loved. So I'll be happy to read.
Who does the translation?
This is. Does it say on the cover?
Is it Peviar and Volkonsky?
No, thank goodness. Charles and Natasha Hepburn. It looks like. I don't like Peviar and Volkonsky's translations all that much. So
I should point out that you're supposed to call it Fathers and Children, or you're literally worse than Hitler. I believe I saw one booktuber, I think I know who it was, I won't name it, who suggested that it should be fathers and non-binary children. I don't think non-binary is in the Russian. That's it. But I've read that translation. I used to have that volume.
Oh, do you like it?
I bet you're going to like it.
Okay, good.
The only thing I think you're not going to like about it is it doesn't really hang together very well as a narrative.
Really? Okay. And I'm not familiar with these translators either. I feel like once you do one Russian, you end up doing them all, but I don't know these two.
This was at the thrift shop, and it was actually there the time before we went to that thrift shop, so it's been sitting there for a while. So I grabbed it. This is Clifford Doughty, who's done a couple of really good books, and this is his book. I've been trying to show all of you who've been out there who are emailing. I'm trying to show David Civil War stuff. He wants to be a Civil War guy, so I'm trying to do that. And this is the Wilderness is the battle that people always say Lee resoundingly won it. It isn't that Lee resoundingly won it. It's that the Northern general, the Yankee general, the Boston general, resoundingly lost it. But it doesn't matter. I remember this book when it came out in the 80s. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So. Well, no. No, this is an older book. Well, okay. So this came out in 1964, but it's still. I remember reading it and really liking it. So my Civil War library can always stand an edition, and if I read it and think, well, I don't really want to keep it, well, I can send it to Bill Rutenberg. Just send it to Bill Rutenberg. His wife's mad at him anyway, so just send him your books about the Civil War.
Okay, well, this was really depressing. I was glad to find this, but this is a...
You don't own that?
No, I don't, and I haven't read it in...
It's a masterpiece. It's the grimmest masterpiece of them all.
Yeah, this is the Nazi doctors, medical killing, and the psychology of genocide. This is one of the hardest books I've ever read. I'm not a very emotional reader, but this was hard to get through. But it's brilliant. It is brilliant. Yeah. It's crushing. But like I said, I haven't read it for over 10 years, and it's been in the back of my mind. Every now and then I'll think I should go back to it, but I'm not all that enthusiastic about going back to it because it's so difficult. But it was there, and I never see it, so yeah, I grabbed it.
But you've had it before.
Have you had the trade I read it out of a library.
Oh,
yeah.
I usually get the paper. I've had the paperback, and it's a monument to what I mean. Some of the Nazis' most eager servants were doctors, doing horrific things, and things that violate your personality as a human, but also obviously violate the Hippocratic Oath. And they did it anyway, willingly. And the book I mentioned
it'll flatten you for a week.
It will. Yeah. I've mentioned on this channel before, sometimes you're reading a book and you get the feeling, all right, this is the final word. And this is definitely that book, but every time I've got it and read it or reread it, I always get rid of it because it's such a black hole on your shelf. It's just, I can't do it.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll do the same.
Oh, well, this thing is Christopher Hibbert. I got this for Micah Cummins, who also used to have a booktube channel. That's one of his girlfriends. Micah steps out on two women at the same time, Queen Victoria and Catherine the Great. He hopes that neither one of them tells the other, because they're both really bad news if you cross them. But this is a biography of Queen Victoria. I really like this. I saw it, and I think he doesn't have it, so I will mail it off to him.
Okay, and here I got Clarence Darrow for the Defense. I recently got and read, is it The Tyranny? Is that the name? His biography of Darrow. And that was really good, but you raved about this, so I had to get it.
That's an original hardcover. Well, I don't want you to be inconvenienced. I'll mail that to you.
I think this will fit in my bag.
Leave that here, and I'll mail it to you.
How do you not have a copy?
I have the mass market paperback. I've never seen it in hardcover. Oh my God.
Well, I'm keeping this up by me for sure then.
No, I don't want you to be lugging that on the plane. I'm all about my guests' comfort. So you just leave that here, and I'll mail it to you. I found Lionel Trilling and the Critics. This is it's a collection of essays by Lionel Trilling somewhere in this room. You're not going to be able to see it because it's all biography behind us now. But it used to be books of critical essays were behind us, and I had the Trilling collection, The Moral Obligation to be Intelligent. I was going to put this back, but because I have that larger collection, but this is going to have essays that aren't in that. And also the editor, John Rodden, is all through this. He's not just plopping things in. He's all through it. That's fine by me. Trilling is not my kind of critic at all. I love reading him, but I can't write like him at all. Would consider it bad taste to tell a joke in a review. I have whole reviews that I chose to do only so that I could set myself up for a joke. But he refuses to do it. But he's really deep and really good. He is, as the hackneyed phrase that I always use, one of the princes of my profession. So extra essays by him. Great.
Why don't you do another one? I only have two left.
Okay. Joseph Cannon, the thriller writer. This is his Venice book. I remember reading this and kind of sort of liking it. I read it when it came out. Look at there we go. Oh my, there's the Dorsaduro. You can see my house from here. This is, he wrote The Good German. This author wrote The Good German, and this thing came out in 2005. And I read it in 2005 and liked it, so I have a sweet tooth for Venice and books set in Venice, so I grabbed it. This is a perfect illustration of the kind of books that are now swamping the Brattle sale log. Well, you saw endless previous bestsellers. Books that are never going to get reprinted. No one reads them. No one cares about them. No one remembers them. Just some person collected all of them in hardcover and in trade paperback. Thousands
just
of
walls of them, yeah.
And
not one of them had a Messerschmitt in them.
No Messerschmitts, no high German calligraphy, no nothing like that. And also no interest. See, this is the thing that I wrote about on Steve Reads. This is also no interest. These things are the wonder of the moment, and then they are gone. Except for one in a million isn't, and all the others are. What was the one I saw? Oh, there were a bunch that I saw. Carpentaria, in the Black Hills. Oh, there were thousands and thousands of examples, and I was looking at them and I was thinking, okay, everybody was anticipating this coming out, and all the people on my side of the fence were saying, all right, I want to do this. Who can I pitch it to? Who'll pay? Who has room for this? Can I pitch it to my own editor if I'm lucky enough to have a regular editor? Obviously, everybody's going to be talking about this, and everybody did. And then it's gone. And then it's just gone. And it's never going to be anywhere else. The place it's going to be is this vast cemetery in the Brattle sale lot. But that's also a thing I was telling David about. The Brattle sale lot, you really just have to go with the flow of it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Brattle is a used bookstore in Boston, and they have a lot next door, an entire parking lot next door that's full of books for $1, $3, and $5. And those are determined by the buys that the shop goes out on. So I hate to say it because there's always lots of great stuff at the Brattle. Obviously, we got piles of books at the Brattle. I do every time I go. But those books being an easy 60% of the sale lot is like... it's like just you're going to have to pass a clot of sewage. You're going to have to wait for that to go away. Those books aren't going to get any more interesting. the 10th Janet Ivanovich novel in paperback, in hardcover, is not going to get any more interesting. You're not going to convince yourself to get any of these things. So you just have to wait for them to be gone. And you never know. I've talked many times on this channel about how sometimes the sale lot is full of Civil War books, full of World War II books, full of older books.
Yeah.
It's you can never tell. Not that we're complaining. You found plenty of stuff, and so did I. Should I continue, or do you want?
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, I found The Age of Reagan by Stephen Hayward. Did he do a third volume? I know there's at least two. I have the first volume, which goes up to 1980, and then this carries on. So I've been meaning to get this for a while and keep reading. So I don't know if you have one volume you like more than the other.
This one, of course.
One, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm happy to finally have that, and
This is the volume about the 80s, when giants strode the earth and all the world made sense. Wow. I might have grabbed that. I should mail that to you. It's awful big.
It's so big. Yeah.
I found this curiosity. The Queen's Book of the Red Cross. It's full of illustrations. There are period illustrations. It's full of rousing stories about how, from enlisted people, from arts people who are in London, the whole gamut of people looking at World War II. There's an apparition. Is that Jesus? I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Yeah, that's Jesus saying, I will not leave you comfortless, to a man who's been stricken in battle. Instead of rewiring humans so they don't fight wars, or making everybody bulletproof. Instead of doing that, you go ahead and get shot, and while you're bleeding out, you'll think you're seeing me. This is a collection of all of that. All kinds of inspirational, feel-good stuff about the war. In 1939, when it was still possible to do that, when the British thought it was still possible to do that, when all the contributors to this book thought, well, Ireland will end their neutrality, France will stand up, this will be over by Christmas, or next Christmas, but not the unthinkable, not for half a decade to grind on. This is a time capsule of a thing, and the type of thing you never see anywhere except at the Brattle. And of course, those of you who are young, or even not so young, might be thinking, well, if this is true, then why isn't the Queen on the cover? But she is on the cover. That is my girl. That is not Queen Elizabeth II. This is Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. And we are told, the dust jacket says that the cover photo is by Cecil Beaton, and there is the whole cover photo, which is slightly idealized, slightly painted, and very old, from the 1939. So the Queen Mother has a waistline and no gin and tonic in her hand. I'm going to love reading. I'm sure that I don't know anything that's in this book, so I'm going to love reading it.
Mm-hmm. And then here, I found a hardcover.
Oh, my God. You're kidding.
Of Adam Tooze's The Wages of Destruction. I've wanted a hardcover of this forever.
You never see that.
I've had the paperback forever. It's clinging to life. I'm just going to put it out of its misery when I get home. Because, I don't think they even make the hardcover anymore. It's just the paperback.
You showed me a picture. You can actually open your living room window and just drop it in the dumpster.
I could, yeah.
Down a few stories. It's just in a straight line.
And this is, speaking of another landmark piece of World War II literature. If you have a World War II bookshelf, this is definitely one that needs to be on it.
Wages of Destruction is really your type of thing. It's a working economist looking at what this actually cost.
It's World War II and economics. It's sort of the perfect book for me.
And also that type font.
Yeah, I know. I saw the type font before I read what it was saying.
David and I have always joked that we are not side of the head shaved YouTube fascists, and yet we see that type font and immediately go to it. Same thing with a swastika. We see that on the spine of a book, and it's like, yes. Oh, no.
Although when I go home and I put them on, I put them on the shelf like this. So Shire's book, or what's the Battle of the Bulge book? I have spun around, so when people come in, it's just
oh my God!
Swastikas
in your collection, if you didn't do that, you would have a whole shelf at eye level that's just all swastikas.
Time for Trumpets. That's the other one. Yeah.
Oh my! That'd almost be fun to watch. I found another book on Venice. I've had this one before. I've hauled it before, and one of you put your hand up and said, "I really want that book, but don't bother to send it to me. I don't have any used bookstores anywhere where I live. The library sometimes has a sale, and it's uphill both ways."
You're doing your deaf voice.
I am kind of doing my deaf voice. Well, she's received plenty of books from me. But one of you did that. He played me like a fiddle, and so I mailed it off. This is John Julius Norwich, who's great, and this is his book, Paradise of Cities. This is Venice of the 19th century. This is the Venice of dirty canals, falling down buildings, but also Isabella Stewart Gardner and Henry James and everybody else. Plenty of people would say this was Venice as it last was. The last time that it was the beautiful thing. It's still a tourist attraction, but not the trampled on thing that it is now. So I got another copy because the Brattle will provide. That's why I'm such a softie. Because if you tell me, I've never found this, I don't have any used bookstores near me, I don't want to run the risk of ordering from a charlatan online, I know that I'm going to see it. I know that I'm going to see it again. So I just fire things off. And then this thing, which I would not probably have gotten, but I had a car.
And muscle.
Well, they can see the muscle. So I didn't think I needed to say that. Oh, this is going to take some. Oh, goodness. This thing, Venetian Villas, which is the companion volume to the Venetian Palazzo book that I got the last time I was at the Brattle. And I might point out, I got that without a car and without your precious muscles. Okay, all of you are turning the volume off on these videos and just watching David Murphy. I did that without any of that at age 195. And this is the companion volume. These are the villas that are on the mainland. So you do business in the city, maybe you have an apartment in the city or even a palazzo in the city, but you also have a big country villa. And this is the same thing. This is just gorgeous photos and artwork of all of these with potted histories of them. And these are extreme extravagances, these two big things. They're so huge you can barely use them, but nothing else exists like them. I have a whole shelf of Venice books up there, and they do often describe some of these things, but not in elaborate pictures like this. This is just, they're gorgeous. So I got them. So I got a few Venice books. I'll just find a home for them. They won't fit on the Venice shelf. They're too big. But that's it. That was it. That was, you didn't get anything at the thrift shop.
No, I didn't.
We were surrounded by the stink of humanity. You just wanted to leave. I got a few things, but then we also went to was it Target?
Mm-hmm.
Went to Target.
Big box store, yeah.
I don't ever get to go to those. I don't have a car.
We got everything so you could meal prep this week.
Yes, I got my meal preps this week. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. But anyway, that's it for books. I don't know if there'll be a video from me at all tomorrow, but it won't be a book haul at all.
Not bad for just a long weekend.
No.
Yeah.
We mailed a huge box of books.
Yes.
To his home.
We have a routine now when we go into town. Not into town. That's so Midwest of me. Into Boston proper. We go to the same parking garage. Right outside is the post office. I go in. I mail a couple boxes of books, and then we go around the corner and we buy more books from the Brattle.
Yeah, and the obvious thing to do under normal circumstances would have been to hand these books to the Brattle and have them mail them. They do a great job. But then we couldn't do this haul.
And we're men of the people. So.
Yeah. You'd all be whining. Oh, we want more David. Pretty soon, tomorrow at the earliest, it'll be just me. Okay? Eyes on the prize. Your precious David will be gone. Anyway, I don't mean to get bitter. That comes later. This has been wonderful. This has been lots and lots of fun. David will be back, for those of you who've been asking. So don't have to worry about that. And we will get more books, but not this weekend. We're done with books for this weekend. So I'll wrap this up. I'll see you all whenever. If it isn't tomorrow, it'll be Monday. Thank you, everybody.